Another week, another leaked video from the World Economic Forum featuring Klaus Schwab's advisors casually discussing their plans to depopulate the planet. According to these two WEF stooges, all religious groups are opposed to the World Economic Forum because religions want more souls and the WEF wants less on the planet.
So in the session we just attended here at the Economic Forum, I think there was a sense of relief actually in your frankness. You brought up some issues that others are reluctant to bring up.
Always. All the religious groups are against me because I'm talking about population. They want more souls. I want less on the planet.
At what point do we stop and say enough? How many times does the World Economic Forum have to declare their sinister intentions before the world stops and listens? Klaus Schwab's right-hand man, Yuval Noah Harari, who has a history of saying the quiet parts out loud, recently admitted what many people have long suspected. According to Harari, who is promoting his new book, the big political question of the 21st century is, what do we need so many humans for? And it's not even the first time Yuval Noah Harari has let slip regarding their plans for humanity. He recently declared that the WEF considers the vast majority of the human population to be obsolete, useless, and redundant. According to Harari, so-called common people are right to be fearful of a future in which they will be made redundant. The WEF advisor assessed the widespread anxiety among common people as being rooted in a fear of being left behind in a future run by smart people. Such fears are justified according to Harari, who spoke on behalf of the elites and confirmed, we just don't need the vast majority of you.
If you go back to the middle of the 20th century, and it doesn't matter if you're in the United States with Roosevelt, or if you're in Germany with Hitler, or if you're in the USSR with Stalin, and you think about building the future, then your building materials are those millions of people who are working hard in the factories, in the farms, the soldiers you need them. You don't have any kind of future without them. And now fast forward to the early 21st century when we just don't need the vast majority of the population.
Because
the future is about developing more and more sophisticated technology, like, again, artificial intelligence, bioengineering. Most people don't contribute anything to that, except perhaps for their data. And whatever people are still doing, which is useful, these technologies increasingly will make redundant and will make it possible to replace the people.
Harari's comments are deeply disturbing because when they are placed in context with comments by other WEF advisors and affiliates like Bill Gates, it becomes clear that they have disablement and depopulation on their mind. And the UN is working hand in glove with the WEF. Here is Christiana Figueres letting the cat out of the bag about the plans of the elite.
Isn't it true that stopping the rise in population would be one of the biggest levers in driving the rise in greenhouse gases? Is that...
Well, I mean, we all know we expect 9 billion, right, by 2050. So yes, obviously less people would exert less pressure on the natural resources, and that's
so is 9 billion a foregone conclusion? That's like baked in, done, no way to change that?
Well, there again, there's pressure in the system to go toward that. We can definitely change those, right? We can definitely change those numbers, and we really should make every effort to change the numbers because we are already exceeding the planetary carrying capacity today.
Alan Gregg, an official founder for the Rockefeller Foundation, said the world has cancer and the cancer is man. Prince Philip, Queen Elizabeth's husband, said if he could be reincarnated, he would wish to return to Earth as a killer virus to lower human population levels. A nice guy, that Philip. Jacques Cousteau said we need to eliminate 350,000 people a day. Media mogul Ted Turner said we need a 95% decline in population. Okay, Ted, you first. These guys for the New World Order want to reduce the population of the world from its present 7 billion to 500 million. Charles Worster of the Environmental Defence Fund said people are the cause of all problems and we need to get rid of some of them. Bill Clinton signed the Biodiversity Treaty that said we need to reduce the Earth's population to 1 billion. Peter Singer, an influential Princeton professor who is teaching your children, wants to have abortions after the baby's born. You've got 28 days to decide if you want to keep it. He said Christianity is our enemy. If the animal rights movement is to succeed, we must destroy the Judeo-Christian religion tradition. Apparently, animals have more rights than humans. Maybe that's why the powers that be are promoting abortion parties.
Straight up though, if I ever have to have an abortion, you bet I'm gonna have a fucking party. I'm like gonna have like cupcakes with like aborted fetuses drawn on them, lots of snacks, I'm gonna come up with some sort of cocktail and call it the aborted fetus. And me and all of my friends are just gonna hang out, eat a bunch of yummy dead fetus themed food, get drunk, and have a great old time.
And maybe that's why the shots are causing mass deaths. But you'll never hear about that on the mainstream media because they are bought and paid for by Pfizer.
Is brought to you by Pfizer. CBS Health Watch sponsored by Pfizer. Anderson Cooper 360. Brought to you by Pfizer.
ABC News Nightline. Brought to you by Pfizer. Making a difference. Brought to you by Pfizer.
CNN Tonight. Brought to you by Pfizer. Early Start. Brought to you by Pfizer. Friday night on Aaron Burnett Out Front. Brought to you by Pfizer. This Week with George Stephanopoulos is brought to you by Pfizer.
This weather report brought to you by Pfizer.
Today's countdown to the royal wedding is brought to you by Pfizer.
And now a CBS Sports Update brought to you by Pfizer.
Meet the Press Data Download brought to you by Pfizer.
This portion of CBS This Morning sponsored by Pfizer.
On how to find the hidden sugars in the American family diet. Sponsored by Pfizer.
And maybe that's why they're promoting obesity, which last time anyone checked leads to diabetes and an early grave. The body positivity movement promotes obese bodies as healthy and is being pushed hard by the mainstream media, with new celebrities created to brainwash the children. Maybe that's why an insulin factory was blown up just in the nick of time to cause an insulin shortage when it's needed the most.
I got us donuts. Those are so bad for you. Oh no, are they moldy? I mean, are they poisoned? Are you allergic? No, I'm just saying. You're judging my food choices based on a false standard of health again, aren't you? Guilty.
Diet culture, fat phobia, and systems of oppression have created false hierarchies of food, and it shows up everywhere.
For instance, harmful thought patterns like earning food through exercising, or that dessert is the reward for the punishment of eating vegetables.
Remember that you do not need to earn food.
We are all incorrectly taught from a young age that our size, and therefore the foods that we eat, are markers of our self-worth. Moralizing food can lead to harmful relationships with food and disordered eating.
Instead of focusing on good and bad choices, try to approach food with neutrality in mind.
The only foods that are bad for you are foods that contain allergens, poisons, and contaminants, or food that is spoiled or is otherwise inedible.
Eat without guilt, regardless of what society says.
Of course, the mainstream has been corralled into a mass formation psychosis, and they will refuse to listen to you if you try and speak sense to them about any of these issues. According to the mainstream in 2020, obesity is healthy, the vaccines are not causing people to keel over and die, and abortion is love. George Orwell warned us about these times. He said they would convince us that war is peace. How right he was.